What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. What's going on? Welcome to the live session here. We're about to get ready for the New York. Anyone joining us now on the replay, glad that you're here with us. We're ready to take a look at I'm coming into the market cold. Obviously, I know that the dollar index is testing this trend line here, this trend line resistance over here. And I know that we got some good housing data out of the US, better than expected. December housing starts. What else happened overnight? We had boom, boom, boom. We had a little bit worse than retail sales out of UK, which has sent the pound back down. And later today, at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern, 1 hour from now, we do have, this is marked as an orange event, but it is often when you'll see a turn in the markets during the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers. We'll see what they are. I expect they're going to be flying high. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get into it right now. Right now, I see that the DXY, by the way, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. It's Friday. It's Friday. We're going to see how we do. Normally towards the end of the session on Friday, I get a little quiet. We'll see. We'll see what's in store today. Happy Friday. Blair, thanks for those heads up you sent me on those channels. I have a good one I want to send you. All right, so obviously let's look at the euro first, then we'll come right back to the euro US dollar. Euro is breaking down now. Look at this. Look, I wish I would have played this overnight. I wasn't thinking of it, wasn't looking to do it. But ever since it broke this little trend line I had in place, I think I had this down on maybe the 4 hour time frame. Boom, waterfall down. It's coming now down though into some support over here. Got heavier support down here. What does that translate to on the DXY? Right, we're in this support, right, this resistance right now. That's what we're looking on the euro US dollar, and then we have the heavy one over here. I'm not looking at this point in time or thinking about getting long dollars. Now, that's not to say that won't change. How could that change my view? When would that change my view? Well, if we take out this resistance, then I'm definitely looking at getting long dollars. All right. If we come down off this resistance and come back down here, let me draw just a little line up here right now today, just so I have this for future reference. We come back down into here or here and hold it and start resuming up. I'm going to be looking at positioning long dollars. Right now, let's see what happens. We have a whole session in front of us. Let's see if we're able to maintain below this resistance here and below this trend line, above this trend line over here. It's too soon to tell what's going to happen, but we do have definitely dollar strength so far this session today. What does that look like on the US dollar, Japanese yen? Not so strong. So the yen is the strongest pair today. You can see that the dollar is holding up well against it, however. All right. Boom. DJ, Sanjay, MHB. How's it going? Happy Friday. I'm still holding my Australian dollar, Japanese yen trade and my US dollar, Canadian dollar trade. They are both slightly against me, slightly. US dollar, Canadian dollar, literally 3 pips, and Australian dollar, Japanese yen, like 5 pips. I'm still holding those trades. The only 2 trades I've taken this week, coming off a solid week last week. Let's look at the pound, Japanese yen. Just want to get a look at. All right, this is interesting. All right. Let me jump back over to the 8 hour. Obviously, only interesting because kind of played out exactly as we were looking at, or I was looking at the play out yesterday. Martin took this on a short time frame. Great, fantastic trade. I was looking for us to come into this resistance and then come back down and test this broken resistance and see if it holds as a support. And if it does, could you look to get long here next week? Maybe. Maybe. Definitely. I'll put it towards the top of the list. but I'm not sure either way yet. Let's start building my list out well. US gold here looks exactly as planned, just neutral, consolidating exactly as we thought it would, and it continues to do so. No edge there either way. Steve, good morning. I want to take a look here at all right, finally the waterfall. So we were talking about this. We were talking this yen strength today, but we were talking if you people that were looking to get short here, do not get short until price makes a lower low. Look how far it went up. And here, but I mean, guys, the only reason I'm just even making a point of it because this is really important. The first indication you have of a trade is going in your favor is that price when you're buying is making a higher high than the previous buy or a lower low when selling, and there's no reason to pick tops or bottoms in otherwise. All right. Woo! About to catch up on there. Yeah, it's definitely melting, and it's continuing to melting right now. Um, and and we're at a pretty important resistance point right here on the dollar. Obviously, also a pretty important time of day. Let's see, are we going to keep running? Is the year going to keep going? I'm not sure. I know it's not really the dollar's not. It's strong against the euro. It's not really. It's not really. Well, what's it doing against everything else? It's making gains versus the Australian dollar. That's for sure. That means the Canadian dollar is pretty strong today. It's having its way with the pound. The dollar's strong all around, except here for the Canadian dollar. Joseph, 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 spend just something so easily, so simple, something so effective. Joseph, no, don't think like that at all. Just spend 3 days here. Spend today in here with us. Watch over the weekend 2 replays. Start there, Joseph. All right, let's. What else is going? There's a lot going on in the market, obviously. I don't know. I know Zoran yesterday was shorting this resistance over here after the U.S. data, and not sure whether or not who else is involved in any U.S. dollar trades and how they're obviously that's where the momentum is, as well as the Japanese yen strength. U.S. indices look like they're going to be opening up again to new all-time highs, and the melt up just continues. Um, just real quick to check in on my friendly U.S. automaker who's outperforming every other car maker in the world put together, Tesla. Um, I know that today there was $55 billion in repos. I think that was supposed to end by now, yet it's still going on. Not a good sign. It looks like the central banks are losing control. Harsha, that's seriously. This is the first time I've ever said anything like this. That's the stupidest comment I've heard in the 3 months we're doing that. What do you talk? That's not how you trade. You want to learn how to trade? Sit back, watch, and learn. We're here to show you. But I've taken 2 trades this week, and I'm still managing them. And I average about 3 trades a week. And if anyone's trading more than that and they're not profitable, you're over trading. If you think that trade, go actually. There's another channel. They have like 1,000 members in there. It's called Wicks Don't Lie. Go into there. Actually, I think you'll have a better time. They're a bunch of um, go in there. I'm sure they're placing a bunch of trades. If you want to learn to trade, stick around, hang out, change the whole perception. And anyway, Let's take a look at the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Shorting this into support though here. Well, I know Martin, I think you short actually trade on a short time frame. Actually, I know it's late in the day over there. You're probably looking to tie up. It's Friday. Anyone looking to take new positions today, be looking to tie them up within the next couple of hours, right? It's Friday. Be aware of that. Today looks like I'm not involved in any of these trades that are definitely falling and well into profit today. It's a time to be looking to take profits. No, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I said they trade a lot and they're very active. And if you're looking for a lot of quote unquote action, go there. I have a very methodical way of trading, very patient way. Wait for my setups. I'm very picky about my setups. It's completely different. So back to the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. I think we're coming into support over here very clearly. Obviously, if you see where my mouse is down over here, it's like a box. The support goes down a little bit further if you're holding a short. Obviously, the momentum is with you over the last couple of trading sessions, but you are into support right now. Just a heads up. What's happened with the Australian dollar ever since? Actually, a couple of things has happened. This is just giving you a bigger overview. When we broke above this resistance and never held, so far we've coming back down, and we're now near the bottom of this support over here. And obviously, the strongest support is down here. You can see the same thing on the dollar index. The strong resistance is right here. So, uh, why I'm still looking. This is not a breakout yet of this channel. You could see some past spikes over here. We're now very alerted. We have to get above this resistance here to really change, for me to change my position on the US dollar and flip, right? This was long dollars. This is short dollars. If we get above here, I'm long dollars again. Right over here, very cautious. Watch what's happening on the Australian dollar, US dollar. This might actually be providing some opportunity. Holding above this area over here is very bullish. And as long as you hold this one down over here, it continues to be very bullish and the breakout continues. So some possibility setting up over here on the Australian dollar, US dollar in the week ahead. For me, you know, um, again, just to keep it really simple, I to keep it really simple, it's very extremely hard to day trade the foreign exchange market. You will find me trading the 1 minute on rate decisions when there's actually a rate cut or a rate hike out of the FOMC or the ECB. Sometimes out of the Australian or New Zealand central bank. Obviously, when the Bank of Japan went full craziness QE back in 2013, I was involved in that, but not actually on the 1 minute. If you are trading on that time frame, Forex is not actually the right market. You should be trading the futures. It's a much better market for day trading like that, and it's very difficult to make a living day trading. Listen, if you're not yet profitable, it's very simple. Come up to a higher time frame and trade less, and you're going to have much more success. Because what's happening is probably you're chasing momentum and you're actually buying at the wrong place. If you notice that when you buy and a trade starts going against you pretty much immediately, that means you're chasing momentum. All right. And you need to just reevaluate and sit back and rethink your strategy. It looks like the dollar is running into a little bit of trouble right here. It's too soon to tell, obviously. This is a normal time over here, by the way, from 9 9:10 to 9:30 Eastern time, you almost always see a retracement in whatever move it was happening. What's important to watch here is on the open of the U.S. equities, what price does. Does price go on to start making new higher highs? If that's the case, there's a good chance that we are going to continue following through up into this resistance over here. What else are we looking at? What do you guys, what, if anyone, when I say guys, I definitely mean guys and girls, you all, what is anyone looking at right now that they want to take a look at together? I just got into my analysis. I have so many pairs to look at. But I don't need to do that in a fluid manner. And the reason for that is because I'm in my trades. I'm not really scanning here looking for trade setups. I'm getting a feel of the market right now. So I remain in the flow, getting ready, see what's setting up for the coming week. New Zealand dollar. This is New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. 25% is a lot. Looks like, Iron Man, that you see the market very well, but you are trading too big because that is not sustainable. So if you're trading that well, bring it down. Still looks good, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen here, and this continues to drift up. I'm not interested at all in getting involved here, though. A break of this line over here becomes interesting. Um, Again, this continues to look bullish structurally. Everything is, the trend is in place. It was obviously very important this support here held. I think you need to get below this support to become really bullish on this pair and start chasing momentum to the downside. Um, I definitely see better opportunities across the board, so I'm not going to focus in here right now. US dollar, Canadian dollar is strong versus the dollar today. And when I mean strong versus the dollar, it's almost unchanged on the day, where the dollar is making nice gains versus everything else. Still below this resistance over here. It's never on this US dollar run even made it up. So it looks good. That's why, I'm continuing to stick with it. What is oil doing? And that's probably why oil's been firming up. But oil's coming into this first resistance, this first test off of this support. This is a big one to watch. Anyone that's holding DJ holding the oil short, as you come into this resistance, you want to see obviously this resistance hold and price fall back off of it. If you get above this resistance and then test it as support and start coming back up, it looks like that we have some further upside. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look. Well, yeah. Well, all right. So I'm looking bigger picture here, and obviously I'm looking at the breakout of this trend line. And since it's broken out, it's behaved really well. Meaning, right? Twice this trend line has held as support, and we're back near towards the top and consolidating above the top of the breakout. I know that there's a lot of room above, a lot of room. I mean, a lot of room to roam if we could get above this last high over here. So what I'm looking at is the market seemed um, pretty, pretty. I know the yen strengthened today, but it's been a long time, right? The yen ever since the weekend has been just selling off, so it's quite normal that the yen was strong today. even still with that yen strength, this is holding up near the top over here. I'm looking at the last swing low over here as a place to put my stop. And as long as we're above it, we have a lot of momentum here with the US and the China not being a sell the news type event. I'm looking for risk on to continue here. And if I could clear above here, then there's a lot of room to the upside. There's nothing in the way, and there's no reason for me to get out. Yeah, we do have this and this to work through. Um, but as long as we're above this last again, this wrestling low and holding above this support over here, this looks really good to me, and I'm happy holding it. Great, great, DJ. That so far has been probably the trade of the year. Good solid trade, great timing on it, and fantastic management on it. Really, really great trade. Um, you're saying that we already looked at the Australian dollar, US dollar. That's a trade that you are long. All right. So again, this looks like if the dollar does not hold this break of the trend line that is trying to break out this morning, if this resistance hold and we trade back in here, the Australian dollar US dollar does look like a good candidate coming off this higher support over here. Then you'll see a series of higher lows, which is good. You could almost see a possibility of this. You got higher highs here also. So coming off this support into next week, that could be a possible trade. Sanjay, let's look at the US dollar, New Zealand dollar. Haven't really been following her of late. And I don't even have any sorry about that. All right. So I haven't been following her. So what I'm looking at here coming in pretty cold is, you know, obviously this last support held up over here. Price is trading above it. Looks pretty good and healthy. Hmm. This trend line acted as resistance. I don't really, always tell by the sound of my voice. I don't really see. It looks good. I don't know why I'm leaning towards the Australian dollar more on both the US dollar and the Japanese yen, but everything looks good here. Um, definitely. Chart is bottom left to right going up towards the top right of the chart, and there's nothing to even be worried about as far as breaking down, right? So it looks good. Head and shoulders, maybe. We'll watch for it. We'll watch for it. Let me just do this, just so I have a little reminder that we're looking for a head and shoulder there. See how that plays out. Guys, I average about 3 trades a week. Definitely on the swing trade time frame. Um, I also trade automatedly off the hour time frame. I will, and the last rate announcement, obviously there wasn't any type of rate decision. I also trade off the 1 minute. The last time that was good trading was the in August, the last rate cut in August, and the one before that in July were both great days. Mainly so because of the tweets that followed. All right, let's start taking a look here and just seeing New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Hmm. Coming into support, Canadian dollar seems a little bit stronger than most today, but this is still holding up well. Nevertheless, it is sideways. Australian New Zealand dollar. I'm wondering if this is bottoming long term. Long term, just take a step back, and you could see over here in this little area over here, this consolidation above this support that took place over here. Both times when it broke through, it didn't held. Obviously, this time it made a higher high, and then it broke through again and didn't hold. So I'm wondering. I'm not looking to trade this, but I'm looking to improve my own trading, and I'm looking for signs of a long-term bottom being put in place over here. Thanks. You got red. Thanks for coming in and helping out with Iron Man's question. I have to switch back and forth between screens between the comments and the charts, and I'm focused in on the charts normally. When I look over at the comments, I glance at them for a few seconds and just try to read them real quick, and then go back to the charts. And so I appreciate that help. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. I also wonder if this is putting in a bottom, right? As long as we're above this support over here, it looks like we could be bottoming. I think a better entry or a more high probability entry, and I am looking for high probability entries, would be getting above this resistance over here, working our way above this resistance, being less vulnerable. And then if that tests successfully a support, then that might be a good idea to take a trade versus the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc has firmed up a lot. I think that has something to. I'm not sure what that has to do with. Um, and I'm not going to say something if I'm not sure. I believe it might have something to do with. No, I'm not sure. Pound US dollar, first time we're looking at it, also got caught up into that resistance we had over there, but continues to look very good. It's still holding well above this breakout of this 6 week resistance, and it's also made higher highs going into that, higher lows going into that. And again, as long as we're holding above this trend line and ultimately above this support, it looks pretty bullish. Clearly, and just as a mental note for myself, we got to get above this resistance. We get above this resistance. At that point, I think we could start getting bullish again, at least between these 2 points. At least between these 2 points, take a nice trade. But it's not where the opportunity's been or is right now. So that's what we want to do. We want to focus in on where the opportunity is. Pound Swiss franc. This doesn't look so good as we're trading below this resistance over here. Let me just go ahead and draw that in. But pretty sideways. Pretty sideways. So interestingly enough, here on the U.S. dollar, Mexican peso next week, they're looking to tie up the USCMA trade agreement between Canada and Mexico. Wondering if the peso continues to firm up into that, and then what happens afterwards. It's at a critical support level. If it does get in below here, just look at this on the monthly time frame. You got a big swamp on this pair. And one more heads up on this pair is, let's take a look at the weekly. This was during the it's January 17th. So this was actually during the U.S. election. This was during the U.S. election, going into to the election, and they said if if Trump wins, the peso is gonna basically collapse. Trump won, peso came off a lot. Same thing over here. This was during their election, and they said if whoever their president is right now won, the peso was going to collapse. Since the election, the peso's come off significantly. Um, it's kind of funny. I wonder what's going to happen during the next election. I bet you it's going to be Trump who's going to be saying if so and so is elected, the economy is going to crash. Watch, Trump is going to say that. Watch. My bias on the euro US dollar. Um, just take a step back. We got um, we got a support level right here that we're testing below it right now. This is a weaker support level. Okay, it's a lighter support level. Martin, let me lighten that up a little bit. This one over here is definitely heavier in this area over here. And you can see that off of the support, we made a series of higher lows. 1, 2, 3. If we start coming back down here and below, at that point, I have to be very, very bearish on the euro US dollar. Right now, I'm pretty neutral. I'm pretty neutral. I have no idea what comes first, whether we come into this support or back into this resistance. I'm very neutral. Outside of this range to the upside, over here or down here, it becomes a lot clearer. But right now, in between this area, I'm pretty neutral. And right now, we're almost in between that area. So I don't have a clear direction on the euro US dollar. Looks like price is sideways in between this resistance, again, above it. I think we're definitely testing at least to right up here. And below it, I think we come down here and I think we go much lower. I think we come down probably around to there. So too soon to tell. Let me see what's really moving today. US dollar, Swiss franc. Bottom pickers of the light, nice spread on this one. I think that it's too soon to tell. The dollar could be running into a lot of resistance up here. If the dollar were to break out, oh, I need to see what's going on here in a smaller time frame. As yep, it must be the market opening. Again, we'll want to see what happens here this morning, whether or not the first 45 minutes of trading we're able to come up here and make higher highs, or we're back below here. Uh, Either which one of those in the next 45 minutes of trading will provide a pretty decent read of what the rest of the day is going to look like. If the US dollar is able to break out, I think then it makes sense to get long the US dollar, Swiss franc. But right now, with the US dollar towards the resistance that it's facing, um, again, it's got strong resistance right here. You get above here, I think then it might make sense to get long the US dollar, Swiss franc, as this dollar breakout of this bull flag could really, really, take off and go for a while. But right now, I think picking that type of bottom on the US dollar, Swiss franc would be too dangerous. Again, you're what I'm looking for. You should be looking for is swing trades. Anywhere generally speaking, the last a few days, 1 to 5 days, if longer, and they go in your favor, better. And it's just a lot easier. A lot of traders looking for the top up there. Well, a lot of traders have been looking for the top since 1350, right? And and possibly, I don't know, to be honest. I don't have a good read on that, Heath. I wouldn't be short in the top. You know, that was a strong breakout too. Not only a strong breakout, it kept going. You know, I'm sure all ice oscillators were extremely overbought over here, and you know, it's possible. I don't know though. It's not something that is clear, and if it's not clear, I stay away from it. Let's look at that on a smaller time frame. So this is why it's important anyway, to look no matter the time frame you're trading, go ahead and place your support and your resistance off the daily. You have them on the daily and then they come into effect on every other time frame. If you're trading a short time frame here, right? If you are, got involved in this breakout over here yesterday, you know then where your take profit areas were, right? It was first this trend line and then ultimately you had this resistance above you. Where if you didn't see, look at the rejection though. It's so hard and so strong. This I'm assuming, Hernero, this was during the retail sales, right? And what a moment to be looking, uh, you know, and obviously I wasn't involved in hindsight, it looks like a layup. It looks very easy. Why? You coming off the resistance, rejected off of the data, and then when you came back down, crushing through, this was the entry over here. When you came back crushing through, came back up and tested this broken support and it held as resistance. So you did run into support over here, and that's where price is basing out. And again, this is easier than in real time, looking at it now and kind of reviewing what happened. It's always much easier than in real time, and when you're involved in the trade. But by doing this, this is what helps you. You do have one higher low over here. So you need to watch out during this next important 30 minutes of trading, whether or not we're able to come in and make lower lows. Anyone who's short here and you start then making a higher high, if you're trading on a short time frame, all right, well then there's your sign. Broken retest. I like that term, broken retest. That's what you got to look for. Why is the most money to be made over here? Yep. Is the easier money to be made on the retest? Yep. So it's the higher probability trade is what I found by trading less and taking better trades and make much more money. And broken retest is a good way to look at it. Of course, we don't have a term for you know the test of support and test of resistance, which you're always looking for. But if you do break, it's break retest. So we do just a heads up. Anyone in any trades right now, or day trading, in 20 minutes, we do have the U.S. consumer confidence numbers. Right now, right now, everyone's focused on that Fed liquidity. I think the Fed is being trapped here, where you could see we're now into the almost the end of January, midway through January, and the Fed has not been able to stop this repo, right? They spent $55 billion yesterday or this morning, and that just continues. And normally at this time in the cycle, everyone's concerned about what the U.S. consumer is doing, and I'm not sure how much that even matters when it's really all about this Fed liquidity, and it looks like the Fed is becoming trapped where this temporary, quote unquote, temporary, not QE, is going to turn into long term QE. And, what does that mean for gold? Well, gold's got a nice bid to it today, this morning, against the strong dollar. So I guess that is what it means for gold long term. Um, and again, if you're not positioned into gold as far as your overall portfolio, you have to have my opinion, not advice. Nothing here is advice, my opinion, but you have to have a portion of your wealth in physical gold, and store that somewhere extremely safe where no one knows about it, away from your place. But if you don't have that yet, I think at this point, you know, you should start dollar cost averaging in, no matter what that means for you, monthly. I don't think the Fed. I don't think. I don't think the Fed will go to negative rates at all, and I think they'll get down, as close as possible to zero or even zero. But Hanero, I also have to say I could be wrong. I didn't think the Fed would start QE until they cut really quick to zero and then did QE. And I know they're not calling it QE because they're only buying short-term treasuries. But they are, but they're, as soon, but they are. It is QE, and the Fed knows it's more effective when rates are near zero. So things are really broken. There's some big problems out there that are well above all of us to be able to understand, or have any idea what they are, because the information is not shared with us. But the fact that the Fed started QE before going down to zero says there's a problem. And if there's that type of problem, maybe when they start you know, doing anything they can to try to control the situation, maybe they do go negative. But it's clear negative rates have not worked elsewhere. And that's not to say that maybe then they wouldn't work in the US, but I doubt it. And I don't think they go negative. And we'll see if they do. I could be wrong, but I don't think they go negative. Yeah, so it turns out you're right. You're right about that, Hanero. So it turns out basically what they do is, they're buying those short-term treasuries, and then as soon as they, come due, then they're basically buying longer-term debt with it. So you're totally completely right. Yeah, Aziz, first welcome. Just two things that are really important for you. First, if you are interested in Bitcoin, there is a video on this channel called Bitcoin Strategy for Beginners. Check that one out, and it's not for beginners. All right, I use this strategy, and but that's more of a intermediate, long term, how to position in Bitcoin. But that is gold. That's better than gold. Now, as far as Bitcoin, right now, traders are looking. Hold on, let me pull up Bitcoin for you. Additionally, as look in the description here, and you see this Telegram group. The last updates I sent out, two updates this week on Bitcoin. The first one was the entry into Bitcoin, right? As price, you can see over here this head and shoulders, this inverse head and shoulders. As it broke, and then price came above this support, this resistance over here. Our entry was over here on the 8 hour. And again, if you want to, it's only a 2 minute video. If you want to see it on TradingView, our entry was right here as price held this broken resistance as support, break and retest. And then the entry was over here. I'm looking to take profits a little bit higher than we are right now, because there's resistance above your head on Bitcoin. You can see this area of 91 to 94. This is a pocket of resistance. It's possible the rejection's happening right here. You can see at 9,000 just below it. Price would need to start making lower lows, right? Uh, so I'm not exiting the trade yet. I'm still holding, looking for this little pocket to take profit into. Is it possible we get above this resistance? Yeah. And if we do get above it, then look for a retest here. And then if that holds, you could look to position long again. But right now, you should be looking to take profits. I don't think it's a good place to sell. I don't think it's a good place to sell at all. A lot of momentum coming in over here. I think price has a good chance of consolidating around here. Who knows what it's going to do? But again, the trade just happened. All right. So now it's a question of waiting for the next one, not just being involved in it. What I do here though is I trade Bitcoin through trading Forex currency pairs. All right. That's how I grow my Bitcoin. I'm not sure. So if you know, in a question like that, what's your time horizon? What's your time frame as far as the pound US dollar? Um, we could take a look at it, but very important to, if you're looking at it at a different time horizon and time frame, because, step back here for a second, just to the daily time frame. And as far as missing it, I mean, when this looks quite bullish, structure is definitely intact above this trend line. You have to remain bullish. Price is so far after consolidating here, broke out to the upside. That is held once, twice, and we're still above that breakout. So everything continues to look bullish. On a nearer term time frame, we got to get above this resistance here to start looking to take long trades on this, right? And then you could go back to just a short time frame, and then you had uh, you know, Martin in here yesterday taking a long trade over here, probably taking profit up here, and then Hanero shorting it over here. So as far as missing it, it depends what your time frame is. Today's a Friday, then you have a couple more hours of trading. Uh, I wouldn't take any trades for the next 10 minutes because then you have consumer confidence numbers coming out, and then you want to tie up your trades within the next 2 hours if you're a short time frame minded. Guys, coming from someone who's shortly traded on more actively and on shorter time frames, it's much easier to make money on the higher time frames. It's much easier to make money on the higher time frames. And so basically the only thing that made me be able to change my mind and become as patient as I am is because I make a lot more money doing it, right? And once you start making money in the markets, believe me, you will have no problem as far as any type of discipline or sticking to any plan or strategy because there's no reason not to. It's that simple. Guys, I know it's attractive to trade off of the short term time frames. Uh, you have to be the best of the best. Period. You have to be the top 3%. That's yeah, that's great advice. There will simply be other chances, and this is right now is not the opportunity, the time to be looking and chasing off after Bitcoin. Again, that happened early in the week. All right, so just it's okay. The market's always going to be there, and but by having that type of perspective and insight, you know, things are really going to really change for you really quickly, and is really important. That's the only reason we're sitting here stressing it right now. Basically, we want to help you out, and so I'm gonna call it as it is, as I see it, and you know, I'm a pretty positive and supportive guy, that's for sure. But But Hanero, I think on the shorter time frames, I think you see the market well. By short time frames, I'm not exactly sure what frame you trade. I think you trade the 1 hour, right? 1 hour, 30 minute are possible on foreign exchange. Even 15 minute during certain periods of the day. For example, if you were to trade between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., you know, there's an easy time to trade on the 15 minute, and then between even 8:30 and 9 o'clock after the data, if you're good, right? And you can make good money on the 15-minute time frame. It simply takes a lot more energy. It takes a lot more focus. It takes a lot more discipline, and you don't make more money than if you were trading the higher time frames. But what I do want to say, and sincerely, because I do believe it, I believe that you might have a calling, on the shorter time frames, and I believe that you got a good foundation, right? That's the definitely the sense I get, right? And that's good. And if, again, there are 3% that could do it, and that's 3% out of everyone, right? There's a room of 100 people. I'm talking 3 guys that will be able to do it and do it well. Of 100 traders, three of them will be able to do it and do it well, and they do it consistently. And I see, but you work really hard. Yeah, those are good times. So again, really the thing to focus in right now, the next 10 minutes. After there, I think we're going to see a move. What are the indices doing? The indices are it looks like they're mixed right now. Again, let's see what happens after the consumer confidence numbers comes out, how they react off it. The thing about numbers and data, this is really important for everyone. Um, you you could get a strong beat and the market sells off on that, right? Uh, it's not black and white when it comes to data releases. Just because it's a good number doesn't mean that the market's going to react the way you think, or negative numbers that the market's going to react the way you think. You have to be ready for both. You have to watch price react around the numbers, and there's two things that could happen. If the if price reacts as you expect according to the numbers, then that's an indication that that's what the market's looking for, and you trade accordingly. You always have to look for an adverse reaction from the market. Yeah, and so the funny thing about trading, or one of the cool things about trading, is that the same things that happen on the larger time frames happen on the smaller time frames, and the same things that happen on the smaller time frames happen on the larger time frames. It just plays out quicker on the smaller time frames. And the truth is, it's again, why it takes so much discipline and so much focus, and you have to be at the top of your game. There's less room for forgiveness on the shorter time frame. There's less room for forgiveness because on the higher time frame, you have, like, if you're trading over here on a smaller time frame, you know, it's it's hard to it's you could get whipsawed back and forth really easy with market movements. It's hard to tell when that break's occurring, right? And then, oh, we broke down. Oh, no, we're going back up, right? And it's harder. You get a much more precise entry. Like if you're able to be trading the higher time frame with precision entries on the small time frame, that might be something really sincerely, Hanero, that you might want to work on, is looking for the setups on the higher time frame and then going down to the lower time frame, being that you're involved in the market during, like, here's the break of this trend line that I had drawn in, here's the retest, and then here's the continuation. If you were able to take this, sincerely, here's the break, here's the retest, break, retest, right, that we always look for. It held, support, when it breaks, held as resistance, and then when it follows through, there's the entry, and boom. So if you're able to take the precision entry and trade it like a swing trader, that's awesome. Then you can make really good and serious money. It's just easier for me to trade that. A lot of these entries happen when I'm sleeping, and it's a lot easier to trade that, having orders waiting in place, using EAs, and then take advantage of it that way. Appreciate everyone showing their appreciation this morning. Again, this really helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are definitely enjoying what's going on here. Help other people become aware of it. Helps the algorithm share it with others. So I appreciate anyone who has been able to take the time and do that, and only do it if you believe it. Otherwise, don't do it, or even hit the thumbs down if you believe that's what the vote you should cast. We got about 4 minutes. So not much has happened, right, in the past hour. Let's see what happens in the next 20 minutes. We are now taking another look here towards the highs on the DXY. Let's sit back here a minute. If anyone has any questions or any pairs they want to look at. Yeah, here's the Bitcoin US dollar. Yeah, I'll give you a link. As is. That's like a 2 minute video, 3 minute video, which gives a really good analysis and look at this trade over here, which the entry was down over here, but this was you know that analysis occurred before the entry, setting up giving into the entry. Oh, I don't know. So the way that I'm looking at Bitcoin is, first of all, Bitcoin is quite a bit off it, coming off of the area that I get, right? Bitcoin, you guys remember, it was trading around 75, coming down steep and hard. I put in this area 65 that I thought would be the low actually that we would see of this cycle. And you know, since then Bitcoin has come off pretty hot and hard. There's a lot of momentum here. So I'm not looking to fade that. A lot of retail traders today are fading this. All right. Again, active traders have a hard time. So into this pocket, okay, I really see that as a place to take profit from this trade. Additionally, if you lose it, right? I have this little area of support over here. I have this little area of support over here. As long as price above it, it looks really continued bullish. I wonder if we get another look over here. Um, you're coming into the weekend. Bitcoin trains a little bit lighter over the weekend. Anything above where my mouse is right now looks pretty bullish for this move, right? Even a little further down, you could also, there's a lot of support being built up now over here. I don't see a reason to take a look to take any profits here. I don't think that we're going to break above this resistance here right away without consolidating first. I don't think we're going to shoot above that, right? I do think that I think we're going to see price consolidating above this support, and I know there's support right there. I just looked at with you, right? So there's double where my mouse is right now at call it 8,400. Between 8,400 and 8,550, there's a strong demand zone over there. It's building up, and I think we're going to consolidate into this area over here. If we break above it, all right, then at that point we could get in, break and retest and get in. If you're swing trade minded, but right now we got a lot of overhead resistance. I don't think we're going to shoot up through there. Obviously, Bitcoin has powerful moves involved in it. Bitcoin is something that, again, like gold, you should be holding for the long term. And obviously, you guys also know how I do it as far as using this right here, right? And we just have a buy coming in right now on Bitcoin as far as the intermediate's concerned. This keeps you on the sidelines when you should be on the sidelines, keeps you into the trade when you should be long Bitcoin for the intermediate. But on a short time frame right here, I don't think we're gonna burst above here. I think that we got a lot of overhead resistance, but I don't think we're gonna come off it either. I don't think we come down and test this area. I think that we consolidate up here for a while. And for a while, I don't know if that means a few days or for a week, but that's what I'm seeing happen. Meanwhile, if you took that trade, you could even, so you don't need to get so picky with it. You could either, so you could use this line right here, right? You could have a stop in right now around, call it 86.92. Give yourself a little bit of room, and yeah, if you come off there and you got into this trade wherever that your entry was, somewhere around here, go ahead and take that beautiful profit. You don't have to get crazy and picky with it. I did pick some up, and I'm still holding it, and I'm not worried about it. But this was a good trade already, like a really good trade. Um, and make sure you protect that. Don't give that back. Don't put that back down to stop even. If you were looking to get into Bitcoin for the long term here, okay, then maybe do that and let that go, because again, this is where we are right now on the bigger picture. This is where we are in the cycle, and what I expect over the next 5 months is just a slow rise up until 11,400. All right, I've said that for over a year and a half now. That's where I expect the price of Bitcoin to be at the halving. So, which is why I'm not so concerned about it. We know we get below 5,800, something's really wrong. And if you're looking, Mima, to actually get into a position of Bitcoin, this is the place to be accumulating it for this, right? This is now position traders time frame, and I'm not looking only for this. I'm looking for the next three of these. Boom, boom, boom. So if you're a swing trader minder right now, you could be looking to protect this profits you have on this trade. Feel good about taking profits at any time. You could know, okay, I'm not going to give back anything worse than this. And, is it a question, are you getting greedy now, looking to get up into that blue box? A little bit. You go for it, but don't give back more than you should here. Don't see this green line. That's the line in the sand. You get below there. Well, actually, sorry, I don't focus in on this day to day, and I just did it with you. So it's between that and 84. I would not give back but more than this support up here. But I think we would again maybe look to buy if you got back down here. 100%. Do not buy. Do not buy. Do not FOMO. Do not buy into resistance. Those are some of the first things you need to do in order to start really genuinely turning around your trading. I want to see just what those numbers came in as. A little bit lower than expected, and I just want to see if there is any reaction off the dollar. Not yet. Definitely have my thoughts on the dollar here, what's going on as we're towards this little bit resistance here, this peaking above of this bull flag. Is this when the breakout's happening? Have to be really cautious this session and again on Monday, because this could be a big turning point for the dollar. If we do break out here of this bull flag, we could start seeing a stronger dollar. Meanwhile, position trade, like if you don't have you know, so position traders are looking to just accumulate Bitcoin these next 5 months. If you got into that entry, I would not give up that entry. I would not give it up because again, as long as we hold above 5,800, it's extraordinarily bullish. I don't think we get below 6,500. I don't. I said it before it happened, and now after it's happened, I'm gonna just affirm that. I think this is the low of the cycle, and I said it before they were printed $1,000 before they were printed. I think that's the low of the cycle. If it's not, 5,800, between 6,000 and 5,800, better hold. If that doesn't, something's very wrong. Get out of those trades. Something's very very wrong. But if you got into this trade over here, I would hold that trade and I would not give it up. I would not take profits here. I would just I would hold it, and I wouldn't even set my stop to break even. Right? That's so funny that you guys both jumped in here at the same time with the same name. I need to take a 5-minute break here. Kids have off from school, and I just want to say hi. Mima, that's a market, right? That's a market. Um, People, take positions on both sides, and everyone has different opinions. So, I can say two things. I can say over here in January, out on Twitter, I said that within 3 months, and right now, people, this is when traders were calling, or I say traders lightly, we're calling for Bitcoin to trade down to $1,000 almost everywhere. The mood was horrific. Everyone was basically in despair, and people were calling for $1,000 Bitcoin. And it was around January the 14th or the 6th, somewhere around there. I said, within 3 months, we're going to see Bitcoin 8,400. And I was off by a few weeks. By a few weeks, we did see that. Not only did we see that, we then blew past that, and then again, about I guess it was about a month ago, I went in and I said 6,500 would be the bottom we saw of this move. So yeah, a lot of traders say different things, but a lot of people actually, again, just like people buy tops and sell bottoms, you know. Let's take a look at the pound US dollar right now versus the euro US dollar. I notice the Canadian dollar is now coming off. It had been holding up well versus the dollar until now. Australian dollar still holding that important support level over there, and dollar pushing out new lows versus the pound over here. Um, where's the support to look into, to lean into? Again, I think the clear trade for me is I have to get above this resistance over here, retest, and then look for this area over here if that's possible. Other than that, buying off of this support over here is a possibility. I have another line to put it over down here now. It's definitely got a bearish tilt to it today with the strong dollar. Bad data out of the UK, but dollar is at a pretty strong resistance level right here. Not so strong. It's at a resistance level over here, and more importantly, it's got to confirm this break today of this trend line. But you can see this light resistance. It's at resistance here. So if we break above here, it's got some room. The pound could drop a little bit further. There's momentum there to the downside, but you're chasing an entry. But over here, you missed the trade, and it's better just to recognize that you missed the trade, right? The trade. I'll show you where the trade was, or at least for me. Here's a break of a pretty important support level. Came down, retest it. This is the trade. This is the easy money. But your trade entry is at least over here, down into here. So taking a sell entry down here, ooh, this is a bad time. There's a possibility, that you have some more money on the table here. Like if you had this trade open from here, okay, then you could hold this trade right now and watch how price reacts over here. But taking a new short entry over here is just, you're in no man's land. You're between your nearest support and resistances. If anything, you're close to a support level right there. You can see the support over here in this low time frame. So I would not be selling into that. At this time of day, to be honest, like if you're looking for setups and you're not sure, like that's a really good situation to be in. That's a good sign, but really this would be better spent learning, because it's the time of day is really important. This hour of trading is normally slow. The next hour of trading is normally slow, so it's not really a time that you'd want to look to take entries, especially on a short time frame minded. Um, about an hour from now, the next 30 minutes from now would be a good time to trade, but not right now. And I think that watching, learning, uh, is a good move right now. But I wouldn't suggest taking some new trades right now. Let me draw it in for you to see. You can see the support over here, and you can see the price has come down and held up into it. And not only that, you have a further support right down here. It's just a really bad. There's a lot that's not good about it, and by saying what's not good about it, I think will be more helpful. Yeah, there is a possibility that you trade down a little further, but it's a slight possibility, and you want to take trades where you have high probability. All right, you're trading at a support level right now, so you don't ever want to be selling into support. It's not smart to sell breakouts like this area over here. You can see actually this happened. You could see this was the news. Price was trading into resistance. This was the news. Price came down, immediately broke this support, came back and touched it, came back down into this support that we're looking at and trading at right now, came back into this resistance and back down. So what we're getting at is here is you want to buy off resistance and sell off support, right? But you wait for the break, look for the retest and get in. And here we are in the 15-minute anyway. This is hard to trade. It's difficult to trade. Do all that, but do it on a bigger time frame, right? And you're gonna have a much easier time. Right now, this is not the time of day to be taking a trade, first of all, which you have to be aware of the times. And if this trade even works out, you simply got lucky. So so again, this is all really like riding a bike. It's very it seems very difficult at first, and then all of a sudden it seems very familiar and easy, or learning anything, right? Even a remote, so I sincerely think being able to assess situations and traders and things pretty well, that honest to God, just go back and watch some of the videos on the channels, and specifically maybe the first 30-40 minutes of each live streaming video. And I think if you watch 3 or 4 of those over today or over the weekend, I think coming into the new week next week at week with us, by the end of next week you're going to actually know what you're looking for and know what you're doing much more than you do today. And that's where we want to get you. We want to get you where you get to see things clearer, and you know what's happening and you know what's going on. And then while you're participating here with us, like, you're seeing what's happening on your own, you're seeing it clearer, and then like you're just picking up nuggets here and there like that. So I want to get you to see it, and that's like assess where you are. And right now you're asking for questions and guidance, which means that, like, okay, here's the guidance. Go in and just watch a few of these videos, and you're gonna get a good. That's gonna start building the foundation you need, and then being here next week with us, and by the end of next week, you'll have a lot clearer grasp. Thank you. You got wrecked for that heads up. Let's take a look. I can see right away euro spinning down on that. Look, yep. So my question is, right now, if this is becoming, and if this is going to become the breakout here, if we're getting the breakout of this bull flag, what I have to look for, because this is pretty strong resistance over here. Until we get above this, and nothing's ever easy, you got more resistance above you, but until we get above this, I'm not going to really like lean bullish the dollar. Right now, definitely we got a lot of off of this support over here holding. Right, we got a lot of momentum, and it looks like the next play, unless by the London close we spike down, it looks like the next play is going to be into this resistance. Yep, except the weekends. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, just go ahead and do that. And and again, take some time over the weekend. Just watch a few of our live sessions, uh, specifically the first half hour, 40 minutes, and then join us next week. And by the end of next week, nice G. So I'm not sold on it yet. All right. It's a lot easier also for break of, again, this is a light level. That's a light support level. To look for breaks of levels, specifically, we got a big trend line here on the DXY, right? That's a big level here on the pound US dollar, up at that resistance, up at 1.3123. On the DXY, looking at this, this is a big level. Price has to close on the daily time frame above it, right? Like look over here. It didn't close on the daily above there. It was trading all the way up here, probably early during New York though, and probably during the opening of New York it reversed. Here we obviously have a lot of momentum now to the upside over here, and all indications are that we're going to close today above this trend line, but we have to wait for that confirmation. It's also just to note, look what happened here. This was a Friday. It's usually opened up higher on Monday, right? You looked like you closed down outside of the out of there. Same thing happened over here. Closed on a Friday outside there, back into it on Monday. So again, I'm watching what's happening, but it's still not clear for me. I do have two trades running against me. I have the US dollar Canadian, the only two trades I took this week, the US dollar Canadian dollar. Right now, trading below this resistance as price came up into this resistance. And I had I was using the DXY up into here, coming into this resistance at the same time. I took a short on this trade. I'm still into that trade right now, still holding it. So it's about 12 pips against me. But again, I gotta be proven wrong on this. I gotta see that would mean the DXY really breaking out here. And if the DXY breaks out and we reposition long dollars, I'm good with that, but I want to be proven wrong first. I'm also long here, the Australian dollar, US dollar. I got long over here, and my stop is below this last swing low over here, right below this support. You see that support in at 75.50. My stop is in at 75.44. So that one's also about 15 pips against me right now.
and I definitely have the momentum here against me. Are you talking about this resistance up here? You got wrecked because it looks like that's where we're headed, right? And it's a nice resistance. It looks like that's where we're headed. Right now, though, that looks like where we're headed. But looking here for the London close and see about this near term resistance right here first. Yep. Yeah, and just to give an overview, basically, we're going to connect these wicks in a second here, but just to give an overview of where my head is at, you guys have all known actually that I think this is a bull flag, and I have expected this whole time. I think we break out to the upside, and even come as high as 99.50 and test up there, and then we'll see what happens. That's what I think is ultimately going to happen. If we break below this support down here, I become basically a dollar bear, and I'm really short the dollar. Until that happens, I've been playing the ping pong inside this channel. So over here, I became strong dollar biased. Over here, I became weak dollar biased. And right now, I'm at the point where it looks like this might be a transition where we're breaking out and I have to reassess. Until we get above this resistance here, though, I'm not bullish on the dollar. Right now, in this area, I am uber cautious. This is where I am right now. I am interested at that as well. Let's see. No, I mean, Hanero, you gave the right analysis on that. 100%. And nothing's even proven here. I mean, you can't even call this yet a break of that support level. More importantly, if you're looking to scalp, what is 10 pips that you're not going to make a living. Yeah, and so I mean, this is where my focus is, because it's where the focus needs to be. What's transpiring here on the dollar index, because if we're getting a turn on the dollar and a breakout here, this is a big deal, right? This is a big deal, and this is where our focus should be. Australian dollar, US dollar was still above the breakout here, right? So, and it being that we're still above, you can see the euro is obviously weaker. If the dollar holds here, long-term positioning, you want to be looking to get long dollars. That's why I'm holding the Canadian dollar short here, because we're still below this resistance. The euro is all the way back up, testing her hard. Canadian dollar has its heavy resistance over here. So, what has trouble coming when the dollar's strong, here's the example. When the dollar's strong, boom, and the Canadian dollar, for example, held its own, just a little bit, you know, that's a good sign. You know, if there's the chance the dollar breaks out here, that's not the high probability trade. And if it does, yeah, we're coming back up. We're testing this resistance big time, but the dollar's got to prove itself. And she's on her way to making a change. And this very well could be the breakout we've been looking for, but it's too soon to tell. So just, I mean, trading, you know, and you need to simplify trading. Trading is about taking high probability trades with good risk to rewards. And if you do that, you're going to win overall. There's the formula, right? And it doesn't mean you're going to win every time. And you actually, you don't even need to win 50% of the time. And you have to be totally good and okay with that. And so it's not a question of being right in one particular area. It's a matter of being right overall. And by being right, again, that means just trading with good risk to reward ratios, and then you don't even need to be right half the time. What is happening with our friendly US dollar, Japanese yen? I think it's mixed on the day. Up into this resistance over here, it's been having trouble. But the dollar, well, the dollar is strong, right? But the yen is stronger today. Gold, why it's consolidating here, it is maintaining pretty well with the strong dollar. It is maintaining pretty well. I think we're going to bottom out. I think we're going to top out right around here. I think we're going to top out right around here for the day. Obviously, if we break, obviously this is the line of interest. Wow. Good share, Blair. So, any idea as far as the Bank of England and their cutting cycle, whether or not they plan on that being a one and done, or if they are looking into getting into further cuts? Because just so everyone's aware, if it is a one and done, the pound should start appreciating after the cut, because the market always looks forward, and after the bank is done cutting, you'll see the currency appreciate. If it's a series of cuts they're planning, then the pound should continue to depreciate. Yeah, the US. So I do trade the US dollar, Japanese yen, but only when it's giving opportunity. And so I think the last trade I took off it, I think the last trade I took off of it was off of I don't know if it was off of this or this in one of these areas. I don't remember, but I haven't seen opportunity in a while, and this must have been during the holiday. Oh, I'm sorry, it was done over here. This is the last time it was here or here. The last time I traded the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Here it was for sure. Off of the support. Yeah, I'm in Central Time Zone. So I got an East Coast accent. Yeah, I was born and raised in New York, and then I had settled out in San Francisco. So I think the California, I think the California mellowed out the New York accent, but as soon as I get together with my childhood friends or I get on the phone with them, it comes back in an instant. You got wrecked. So they're not really talking. They're not saying whether or not they're not giving any type of guidance as whether they're entering any type of cycle of rate cuts or not. So it is Friday. This is obviously the time of the week, and around this time, when I start mellowing out a little bit, anyone, wants to open up a discussion one way or the other, I leave it to all of you. Does you want to take a look around, see what these other cryptocurrencies are doing? Should probably start on the daily here since I don't really start following them. But if price action starts picking up, we can start doing that. Oh. It'd be really, really nice to be able to get the chat over here on this area of my watch list, because I know a lot of people, they watch with the full screen, and it's hard as it is for them and me to go back and forth between the chat and also looking at the screen. So I wish I could do that. Yeah, it's a shame. It is an opportunity, though, to be honest. First of all, just to really pray for that person, but that's fine. There's a channel that I wanted to share with you specifically, Blair, that I watched a lot this week. A lot. I watched. My wife was out of town, so I had some free time in the evenings, and was able to watch some of these videos. Uh, just discovered that channel this week. There were some of the videos that I saw with people I never even knew or heard of before, and there were a lot of good ones. I'm not even going to recommend one to you. If there's any of those videos that sound appealing to you, go ahead and watch them. It was very, very good. Big G, welcome, welcome. Big G Dub. Yeah, that's awesome. But no. That's awesome. You seem like a really positive, high energy type guy. Definitely good vibes. But mindset and attitude is so important. It's so important. It's so important in everything we do and achieve in our lives. Mindset is so important. I think as a trader, it's something that we got to get right first. And just a heads up, trading is extraordinarily difficult. You got to go in with that killer instinct and competitiveness. There's no, you're going to do it, and you got to do it, and you got to have that mindset that you're going to do it if you have a chance of doing it. That's for sure. I'm glad that you even found us and came across us. I believe this is a fantastic, not only community, but definitely resource, place to learn a lot. And I was doing a video of my whole 20-year journey yesterday, and back when I first started trading, that YouTube wasn't a thing, and it was mostly books and magazines and conferences, and I wish this type of stuff was available when I began, because you have the ability to really reduce that learning curve today. And then the greatest obstacle for anyone, and definitely for younger guys, is yourself, because trading is definitely mastery of the self. And until you're able to really connect the two, and I've also found during my career, my biggest how do you say, development as a trader came during those periods when I was really working on myself, training, whether it was for marathons or working out regularly, and also spiritually, when I was making sure and I was taking that time for prayer daily. Those when I made the most progress overall in my trading. And again, those are periods of time, right? Those are not, it's not a day thing, that whether it's a 3, 4, 5, 6 month period. I need to, let's check that out. Good heads up. So the euro is coming down into two important strong areas right now. The DXY is also. So what, Anita, what time frame you looking at? You said the 4 hour. So man, if you saw a left shoulder over here, then the head was over here, and this would be the right shoulder. You don't really. I would love. Do you have a chart, Anita? Could you go ahead and actually take a screenshot over here, and then maybe go over to the chats, and if you're on TradingView, and send it over to Jordan Lindsay. I would love to get a better look at that. If you're able. This was a resistance. This wasn't a shoulder for me. That was a resistance. Or are you looking at this? And I think I got you now. I think I got you now. But I'm going to go to the 8 hour real quick. So you're looking at this head, and this is the shoulder, right? And then are you looking at the break right there? So then now let me drop down to your 4 hour. And let me remove this to get out of your way. So I think this is what you're looking at. The left shoulder, head, right shoulder, break of the neckline happening right there. And where I think the target might come down into this support then, if that's the case. All right, roughly just eyeing it, maybe even a little lower, but that could be. I mean, that could very be well what is transpiring and happening. Good luck. And definitely very good share. I think again, we have to go back to the DXY here. We ran up into that. I'm glad we put that in before it happened, but we just added that trend line from the peaks over there. And, we're coming off a little bit right now, and it depends what happens the rest of the session over here, obviously, but let's keep watching it. Yeah, great. Good share. I'm going to keep this in. I'm going to keep watching how that develops. DXY inverted, head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Could be. If this works out, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're right. I'm focused in definitely over here though on the channel, and not that you can't have multiple patterns working out with each other, because it's, obviously a head and shoulders breaking out of the pattern is going to be powerful. Panero, pound US dollar regained that level you had in place. Let's take a look at it right now. I'm also I'm also concerned what's leading what, right? So let's look over it, because in a bull phase, you're going to have silver leading to the upside. All right. So I mean, obviously it looks very bullish and it continues to look good. I don't have a good read on it though. I have to be honest, I don't have a good read on it. Blair, I don't have a good read on it at all. And but I think we should just I should just start watching it more often to get a better feel and read on it. But I feel cold going into it. I don't have an opinion. Yeah. So my thoughts on that are that, you know, the move in the precious metals has a lot to do with what's going on. You know, again, the Fed did $55 billion in repo yesterday and or this morning, and they've been on that pace since the new year. This was supposed to end going into the new year. They're still doing it. So, you know, I think there are some problems that we're just unaware of. And so the way that that's supposed to play out is a strong dollar and a strong gold, which, if you remember, during the last crisis, gold got crushed during the liquidity crisis. Gold got crushed. That's not to say that's going to happen again the next time, because this time, last time the Fed came in and they spent a ton of money, trillions of dollars, and I'm sure they're going to try and do that again, but the market might not buy it. There's the possibility the Fed loses control. Yeah, this looks like it could be. Well, again, you're very short time frame minded, but you know, bigger picture here. Are we gonna? How much further are we gonna go today? I don't know. Obviously, genuinely really concerned. Now looking forward to Monday, where we're going to open up. Let's look at the calendar next week. Interesting. Bank of Canada expected to hold rates. Also, ECB. Big news out of the EU next week, between the French flat services and German manufacturing, and also out of the UK. Big week next week. Pretty big calendar. I'm interested in obviously following closely next 45 minutes or so the price action. So although things are pretty light, as far as they're light on my end, I definitely want to be involved here. I want to see as New York goes to lunch what the story unfolds. No, I, over the last couple of, I mean, it is holding up well against the strong dollar, but it is definitely consolidating, rightfully so. Look at all these huge moves and really volatile. So now it's just kind of consolidating, figuring out what's next, and you know, I think that could continue into next week. But it is a positive sign, right? That with the dollar so strong, that the gold is up on the day. Yeah, gold's up pretty well on the day with the dollar very, very, very strong. So forward thinking, and if all of a sudden on Monday we, if on Monday we wind up, opening up right around the edge over here and trade back into this range over here, you know, will gold maybe be able to take a look at this area over here? It's pretty light, I have to say. Normally on a Friday, it's pretty light, and I have to say, normally on a Friday, if this was the price action, I would be looking to tie it up for the day. But I just want to give it definitely, I think, another half hour here. I want to feel comfortable what's going in here. It's an important hour of trading. Price is at a nice critical junction over here, and so although things are slow, I want to see what develops. Tipping point. What's going on? Hope you had a good week. Yeah, Bitcoin's looking good. Continues to look good. Right. So if you're long from 7,200, obviously you're not looking for a nice little swing trade here. The swing trade itself, right? We looked at earlier in the week. The entry was over here, and why you still have a little bit room to the upside for this resistance overhead. Let me look on the daily. All right, you got some nice resistance overhead. That's a good place to take profit. If there's a lot, this trade's well into the money right now, over $1,100. So if price is rejected off here, you could take profits. You could take profits right now, or you could get greedy, which I'm doing on a swing trade, looking to take profit up in here. I think we're going to consolidate a little while for up here. I don't see us busting through here right away. Some pretty strong overhead resistance at 94, and a little bit of to work through to even get up there. Once we do, all right, then it's time to reposition long again. But an entry at 72, just bigger picture, I expect 65 to be the bottom. Said that well before we hit it. We tested it twice. I think that's the bottom, as we're over here now in this reaccumulation range. And at 72, wow, you got it's a good entry. The risk is 5,800. Below there, things are just, this whole thesis falls apart. It is no longer valid. But we should be over the, by May, we should be at around 11,400. And a slow drift up there is holding 72. Looks good because you got a lot of potential a year from now. Yeah, so 94 that's the very high, that's the resistance level. So that's picking a top, right? So if you get into this blue area, and the reason I have it blue is so I can watch the exit of my trade, right? It doesn't have to be black and white. I don't have to hit 94 to exit. That's great if it happens, but if price starts reversing and you see a trend change over here, take your profit. Welcome. What's going on? Yeah, maybe it's 10,000. It's really simple. I've done an intricate video on it, but if you look at the high of the each halving cycle, which was here, here, and here, and you look at the low when the when on-chain volume starts to turn around, and the low from there, and you average the two, that's exactly where price has been for the first two cycles. So if you average the high here at 19,400 and the low of 3,100, whatever they were, if you average them though, you get 11,400. So yeah, it could be off by 1,000 or two either way, but I pretty much expect that's what it will be. Nice, Rustin. You seeing, yeah, you seeing the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen now coming back into this broken resistance, looking for it to hold a support up here. If it holds a support over here, if this holds, You know, the entry I would be looking for would obviously not be now. I would be looking into next week. But I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, because this looks nice. And for my whole deal, obviously I've been looking at this, if as long as this continues to hold over here, the support on Monday in the London session, or New York, as a possible entry. If this doesn't hold, we have another support down here also will be positive, and a place to another place to look for a long entry. But this looks good spot. Nice share. Thank you for that. Stubbornly holding here. Dollar is definitely above, again, this nearest resistance. So I mean, good question. That really started over here. This was at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time yesterday, when there was good data. There was a retail sales came in expected, but there was what was it? The manufacturing survey came in. The Philly manufacturing survey came in way better than expected. Market definitely keyed off of that. Retail sales, core retail sales were up. There was real concern that they would be off, and since then, the dollar has been strong. Whether or not that is exact, and then today further, there was better than expected new home purchases in December. So there's been a lot of positive U.S. data that definitely this was the turning point yesterday at 8:30. But I don't know if it's something more structurally or not. We're gonna find out. Again, the base case all along is that this is a bull flag, and we break out to the upside. Whether or not this is the actual breakout occurring now, we got to get above this resistance here and make sure that holds. And then my bias has to flip strong dollar. And but right now we're in a very just critical place to see what is going to happen. All right. So obviously, anyway, as we are into Friday, we're at this is a really critical juncture in the market. Always the market's at an important place, but this is a big deal because we could get a big trend change here coming up next week on the dollar. So the two scenarios that I'm looking for is that this obviously we get a look, got to break above here. Obviously, we get into this resistance. We're going to all be watching with bated breath, and we take out this resistance. I'm getting long dollar, right? I'm interested to see what happens on the open and on Monday, where we end up, whether or not we come back into this channel or not. And right now, in the immediate term, the next half hour is pretty important. If we stay above this support, this broken resistance right now, or not. Panera, have a great weekend. What's the holiday on Monday? Yeah, Panera and everyone taking off right now. Have a really good weekend. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All right, everyone, this is a good place for me to drop off to them. All right, I'll be live streaming on Monday. I'll be here. Those that have off and are enjoying the holiday, have a great long weekend. And everyone in general, I'll talk to you all later. Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Honestly, guys, I enjoy it. And yeah, everyone, I'll talk to you later.